on Monday, September 8th, 2025. Roll call.
Dockery?
Present.
Yossi?
Present.
Blackwell?
He's,
Campbell?
Present.
Collins?
Present.
Blackwell's here. He was on a phone call. He'll join us when he can. All right, on number 3, we have a presentation here from Charlie and Rick on economic development. I'll turn it over to you guys.
Great, thank you. I'm Charlie Armstrong, Rick Schaefer. Thank you so much for having us out. We're industrial real estate brokers, and it's kind of what we want to talk about tonight with you. Just real briefly, Rick will give you a report on the state of the market. We'll talk about industrial building shortages, and we'll talk about how that led into land shortages. We're going to talk a little bit about the ground we have listed in Eldridge. We're going to talk about Davenport's new planned industrial park at Locust and 280, and then what we believe is an opportunity for Eldridge. We want this to be real informal, so we'll do questions at the end, or if you just want to butt in and ask us questions, that works too. We left a packet at each of your places. In that is our 2025 commercial real estate report. We're the only broker in the market that does that. Rick and I put our personal profiles in there. We put some marketing brochures on our Eldridge properties. And lastly, we have our business cards there if you have any questions or ever have the need to follow up. Rick, can you kind of give us an overview of the real estate market just briefly?
You bet. As Charlie mentioned, inside the packet is our most recent market report. You can read that on your own. But, you know, overall, the market right now is, I often use the word tempered. It's a little quiet in certain segments, office, retail, a little bit squishy right now. Shining star in our marketplace right now is industrial. And I'll qualify that by telling you that, and that's where I think we want our focus today is mostly industrial kind of activity. Qualify when I say it's tempered in that it was red hot post-COVID. I'm sure you read, you know, national publications, whatever, just demand exceeded supply like we've never seen before, immediately post-COVID. You saw the development Northwest Davenport, build it, they will come. They did, and they did come, and, you know, Russell's development on Northwest Boulevard, close to 960,000 square feet. They're ready to build another 300,000 square footer. It was, and rental rates in our market finally got to the point where new development could be justified. And we grew up real fast. So when I say tempered, I mean we're not as hot as we were those years immediately rolling out of COVID. But
well, they overbuilt.
They overbuilt, and that was nationwide.
And then I think that, and not to bring politics into it, but things get political these days. You know, that we got Trump, and then the tariffs are tariffs. First they were bad, now they're good, now they're bad. But bottom line is there's just so much change in what we call uncertainty. Right. Big corporations don't like uncertainty. And when there's uncertainty, they sit on their hands. So yeah, we've been a little slower than normal, but there's still good activity.
Good activity. So that's what kind of led us to what we do in a day-to-day business. I mean, that's how we survive. We rap on doors and make things happen when we see there's a void in the market, and that's what Charlie and I have been working hard on for the last 3 years. Yeah. And what kind of ultimately led us to having some very meaningful conversations with Jeff and seeing an opportunity that maybe we thought we better continue the conversation in a little more detail so that you're aware at least what we're seeing in the marketplace today.
Our business is very much focused on supply and demand and, you know, what we call balanced markets or whatever. But starting around 2015, we, in the whole entire Quad Cities regional market, we had no good, really good, you know, industrial buildings that didn't have deferred maintenance or had proper ceiling height or, you know, good sprinkler systems, the right number of dock doors. We just didn't have them in the market. And, you know, we're a small tertiary market. I'm not talking about Eldridge, I'm talking about Davenport, the whole area. You know, we're a small tertiary market. We had none of the big national builders coming to town. And I was getting calls on a semi-regular basis for 100,000 square feet, 200, 400,000 was my largest one. I said, we got nothing. We just turned these deals down. They went down the road. They went elsewhere, you know? And then, as Rick said, all of a sudden, the economic development got turned up a little bit. The cat plant, which was always had some vacancy, it filled up, and they bought Bauden. That's all filled up. There's no vacancy at those places now. They're full. And then you got Kraft Heinz building a new plant, and Sterilite, you know, and then Kevin Kellner put in a 50,000 and a 75,000 spec on River, and he did a 100,000 square foot spec in Eastern Iowa Industrial Center. And then, as Rick said, Russell's developed 960,000. And nobody wanted to build any spec because we're a small market and nobody thought they would come. And guess what? They came and they filled them all. They're building more. So it's pretty amazing. But Rick, that leads to the next problem.
Right. We are still have that problem today. If you look at our industrial parks in at least the Iowa Quad Cities, Scott County Regional Business Park is full. Eastern Iowa Industrial Center is essentially, we've got one 12-acre lot.
One unsold lot that they can't sell because it's a flag lot.
Yeah.
Needs a road, electric road.
Research Parkway, essentially full. So that's what led Charlie and I, noticing this trend, to start rapping on doors of farmers 3 years ago. And we've sat at a lot of kitchen tables over the years. And
Pretty entertaining.
it's been very entertaining and fun. And established some relationships and brought product to the market. And, you know, we've had some success. The 148 acre site just south of Slopertown Road, that one popped pretty quick.
Next to Kraft Heinz.
Next to Kraft Heinz, it was the next domino to fall. It was closest to the development, closest to the infrastructure. Their need was really for only 20 acres, but we held firm and said, no, we only want to sell 48. Well, by God, they came and they bought 48, and they're going to build on 20, and they're going to sell the other.
Is that the TVS now?
Yeah, yeah.
And at a record price, broke 72,500 an acre, what was previously $1 a square foot or 43,560, and it went to 49,000 an acre. And the current development in Eastern Iowa at the time was selling for 59, and we sold that for 72.5. So it just showed you supply and demand.
Right, right. And that relationship led us to the next domino, which was the Meta site. And you know, you can pull that up on the screen. I think most everybody knows where that's at, all told about 350 acres. Did we target Meta? No, but you know, that one came because we took that inventory to the market. You know, otherwise, I'm fearful we would have been a flyover.
We took that land, we annexed it.
Yep.
We rezoned it and brought it to market, just like we're gonna maybe do with you guys.
Do you guys know the status on that? I know they were originally planning on, have already broken ground early last spring. There's
Yeah, great question, Ryan.
The story I'm getting is it's gonna take 3 years to get the electrical transformers. So it doesn't, and this is, we don't have conversations with them too much anymore, so this is just kind of what I've heard. But it doesn't make sense to build all the buildings and wait 2 years for the electrical to turn the lights on.
Gotcha.
So there could be something different, but that's kind of what I've heard. Rick, anything?
No, I don't have any further update. We're kind of anxious because activity breeds activity. We'd like
Right.
to see some dirt flying there too. But so far it's been pretty quiet. But that's the same explanation we've been understanding.
okay.
Okay?
So the bottom line is, we're out of lots again.
We're out of lots again. We're back to where we started 3 years ago.
So during all this, we kind of developed a relationship with Avery and QUIA, and previously they hadn't really done business with brokers, but they must have liked him or me or something. And anyway, that's how we were getting results, and we started bringing them leads. So we now have listed their Avery ground. Rick, you want to talk about those? And Jeff, you could pull them up. It's over on Leonard Court and Lancer Court.
This is the, let's see, where are we at now? Oh, this is the QUIA site.
Yeah, let's go to Avery if you can.
Want to go to Avery first?
Well, we can do that, we'll go for
Yeah,
it.
let's do this, we're in this neighborhood. You know, South First Street, Slopertown Road, 114 acres total. Again, it's the next domino to fall. All within the city limits of Eldridge, already entitled with proper zoning and already supported with infrastructure. So in our mind, this is the next domino to fall.
With the sewer right down the middle of it, right?
Yeah. Big one too. You know, we've got all this filled to the south here now. This is the trucking guys, the stone truck crushing folks here. Then we get into some challenges with the flight pattern of the airport here. And then we get into Sterilite, Kraft Heinz. So all this was south of Slopertown, which falls in the city limits of Davenport. And now the opportunity, as Charlie and I see it, is going north. Okay, and this is kind of ground zero in our mind. And that's, we've been in market for 60 days, Charlie, roughly?
Yeah, let's pull up Avery, let me
Okay.
I'll just read through just in 60 days, the interest we've had.
You want to go up to
Oh,
Avery?
the one up top, sorry. That was
Yeah.
the other Avery.
And the other site that we're bringing to this
Leonard
property
and
market-
Lancer.
Yeah, Leonard and Lancer right here. Am I right? Oh, here we are. Help me out, Charlie, what's our total acreage here?
Yeah, total acreage there, I think is 47.
47 acres? Yeah, it's this piece right here. Feeds off both Leonard Court and Lancer Court here, which is dead end right here. This is a beautiful, already entitled with infrastructure and proper zoning. Subdivides quite nicely into a couple 10 acres and maybe a 20 acre in the middle, which is a huge hole in our marketplace today. I did a quick little search through the entire market on the Iowa side of the river, and if you're hard pressed to find any sites over 5 acres anywhere.
Or even 10,
Pardon me?
or even 10.
Or even
more.
10, yeah. Or any acreage over 5 acres, that's tough to find.
And if they are, they have challenges to them, you know,
Yeah.
they're irregularly shaped, they're floodplain, they got rail right in the front yard, you have to wait to enter the parking lot, you know, there's issues.
So those are the two pieces that we just brought to market, 48 acres and 114 acres that.
And we have marketing brochures in your packet on those, if you want to see those. And yes, we have those listed at 75,000 and 72,000, and they're the only games in town, really. Just since we listed these, which was right around July, yeah, so we've been 60 days. We've had a food equipment manufacturing showing. We had an inquiry for 50 and 450 acres. We had a broker from Des Moines. We had a Fortune 150 company looking for sites. Another broker, Rick and I presented the sites to all of the local builders, Russell, Estes, Bush, Build a Suit, Kevin Kellner, made some presentations to those people. We've got some interest from a national developer now that we've met with now on 2 occasions and a number of conference calls. We're trying to get them to build a spec building. They've called us back a couple times. We had another developer looking for 5 to 10 acres, one with rail, one without. Another 10 to 15 acres for a Chicago logistics company. We are currently working with an Illinois manufacturing company for 10 acres over in Avery. Another inquiry for 80 to 100 acres for a biomass gasification. You were involved in that one. I received an inquiry from a building supplies distributor, 970 branches. They're looking for 10 plus acres. Another Chicago prospect, another Chicago broker. So we're getting regional. And in our business, all of these are hits, you know, and a lot of these, when they do these regionals, it filters down, but it's still action, and that's pretty good in 60 days. And we've got these marketed at a number of national sites and regional sites, as well as our local MLS.
So our anecdotal feeling is that the market is still alive and well, and it's confirmed by that amount of activity we've seen over a relatively short period of time. Are we heading to a closing table in the next 30 days? No, but I can tell you, these are our two most active listings, which tells us the industrial market, while it's not as hot as it was, still pretty doggone good. And it's indicative of the fact that we have such limited supply on the Iowa Quad Cities.
But they're also closer to shovel-ready too, especially
Oh,
like
yeah.
Thank you.
Fourth. But
Yeah.
even that Avery on South First Street, it's right there with sewer run through it, and
Right.
it's gonna be easier to make shovel-ready.
They're fully entitled,
Yeah.
ready to go, you know?
Yeah.
Well, the big thing is the zoning classification on it.
Yep.
That's the advantage. Try to get something zoned in Davenport
Yeah.
that takes your firstborn.
That's a challenge as well
Like
as,
a
you know, in our
virgin, right?
experience with the site selectors or the site qualifiers that reach out to us to, as they evaluate sites and putting their surveys together for prospects. They're wanting to know, zoning status, absolutely, that's a given.
That's number one
That's
question.
number one
probably.
question. Utility infrastructure is number two. People, when they're looking for sites, it's usually a longer term view. I mean, they're not looking, to buy today, but they also don't want to wait 2 years till a site grow. They're looking for the next domino to fall. Where's the next ready site and how quickly can we react?
And a lot of these corps that are looking regionally, Brian, you're exactly right. If you don't have they got a checklist on an Excel spreadsheet, there's any number of communities that want these people. And if you don't hit it right off the bat, you are out.
Yeah. And that's the trend we noticed some years ago, and so, you know what, we gotta start getting our head out of the ground and start driving business and bringing opportunity to the market, because it's been starved for too long.
Rick, you want to talk a little bit about Davenport's new industrial park?
It's no big secret, they've been pretty public about it, that they're now doing the Duck Creek Sewer Extension West along Locust Street, eventually poke over 280 to the Lewis Rich Court area. And that will open up, there's a vast amount of land there, and they have kind of the temperament to drive industrial development to the west. And I don't want to say they're not interested in north and west, but they've kind of refocused their attention to directly west. In our opinion, there's a few challenges with that, not the least of which that's not where our customers and this activity is looking.
Our consultants and our users are telling us they don't want to go there, they want to
Go
here.
north.
I've heard that from a number of
Yeah.
sources.
Yeah.
That-
Interstate 80 corridor is key. Proximity to Interstate 80, access to Interstate 80 is key. I mean, that link between Chicago and Des Moines is pretty important. I don't care if 280, it's just a few miles down the road. That means a lot in the trucking world,
And then the land, they've
Yep.
got some topographical
It's got some
challenges.
topographical.
Sewers going Duck Creek, Kimberly's, you're gonna have to build out, maybe talking about redoing Kimberly Road, but there's gonna be a long time before they get a DOT,
In our uneducated, and this is purely anecdotal, but in our opinion, those opportunities are probably 3 to 5 years out. These prospects can't even consider that. A, it doesn't have the infrastructure. B, the topography challenge, it's not platted, it's untamed. It's a lot of land, but it's untamed.
different owners.
Yeah, untamed charter territory. That's got some maturity left. I'm not arguing that it shouldn't go west, that's up to the city of Davenport, but it's got some challenges. And we see that as at least a 3, maybe a 5-year. By the time that comes to fruition, it'll be ready for this kind of action.
So that represents, at least in our opinion, a huge opportunity for Eldridge. Davenport's out of ground, there's really no place to bring stuff now that isn't zoned or ready to roll. We have kind of looked at this like a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 is QUIA and Avery, ready to go here and now. Presently, before your council, I think we have a 232 acre rezoning going through. That's all in the city of Eldridge and just needs to be rezoned, and, you know, there's 2 different owners, and there's rail there, and that, you know, once this goes, that's phase 2. Then phase 3 is farther west on Slopertown. It's farmland, it would need to be annexed and rezoned.
Do you want to point that out, Jeff? Let me put that up on the map, just so you get some idea where it's at.
Can I ask a question while you're doing that?
Yeah.
Please do.
What type of interest was there beforehand with these companies or developers coming to Eldridge before Davenport ran out? And is there any means why they were overlooking us until now?
Couple of answers. The obvious one is Rick and Charlie. No. In all seriousness, there were other lots. You know, and Davenport has sway over Eldridge, although people don't mind having a small town address. I don't think that's an issue. But I don't think they were marketed properly. They weren't listed. You gotta be on national websites. You gotta be out there. And the fact that they're still here means they weren't sold. I mean, the QUA lots, those are great lots.
Yeah.
People were looking at them, but they just, for whatever reason, a deal wasn't done. I can't tell you exactly because we didn't get involved till about 60 days ago.
Another thing is Davenport's incentives they offer, they're far greater than anything we can offer.
Yeah.
And in some cases, that's the state of Iowa too. You know, and you gotta get that partnership, and I think you've got a good rapport with the chamber, or what's now the new growth or whatever they're
Grove
called.
Cities. Debbie Durham's been here
Yeah.
in Eldridge a couple of times. Nevada and I have been in meetings with her. So we have the eye of the state people at this point.
Davenport's full, they gotta look at
Yeah.
us next.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And at the time too, a lot of the demand was being satisfied. There was still ample, or there was still opportunity, viable opportunity in the EIIC individual lots, usually smaller, 10 acres or less. Russell finally picked up on what we've been preaching is we don't have any existing buildings. And it took a huge amount of guts on Russell's part to pick up the 95 acres
Rick sold them that ground.
to, you know, build their spec. I mean, to build spec, people were saying, oh my gosh, someone's building spec, 300,000 square feet at a
Thought it
car.
was nuts.
That's nuts. Well, what happened? Boom. Built it and it filled. Started the next one. The second one, I think, was 80,000 square feet. Boom, filled. The 300,000
I
feet.
can tack on that a little bit. I had a request for information today from Grow Quad Cities for an existing building.
Yeah.
I had to pass on it. Had a same thing last week, a request for information on existing building, had to pass on it.
I saw that one too, and
We
I
don't have
thought,
any.
man, I'd love it. There's just no product.
I submitted on both of those. Kraft Heinz has got 80,000 down on Stark Street, but that's one of the few that you can even do.
Jeff, real quickly, can you scroll down again? Let's pick up that Revolve one. Here we go. All right, so here again, Sterilite, Kraft. Here's the third-party logistics provider that's under construction right now, and this is the beginning of the Meta Facebook. But here's Charlie and I just kind of coined as maybe phase 2, which is ready, willing, and able sellers. They own the ground now. We've talked to them. They want to sell. It's not matured yet.
Right off the rail there too, Rick. The
Yeah,
curve,
yeah,
So
yeah,
there's Kepi and there's Revolve,
Yeah,
right in there you go,
Kepi.
right there, that's it.
Yep,
Yeah,
sorry.
we got some Revolve.
Trying to read upside down a little bit.
Yeah, we got some Revolve.
Yeah, that's in your city limits right now, that's the 232,
Yeah,
that's,
got some RG Prime and some
Yeah.
Slopertown
Yeah.
and.
We've got all this teed up, ready to go.
And that's the final reading for the rezoning
Yeah.
of these parcels tonight.
It's in the city, we're in the rezoning right now. It's not entitled with utility infrastructure yet.
Correct.
But, you know, and then what's our total acreage over here? Charlie?
500 plus.
Another 500 acres over here. That is the next, our phase 3.
Yep.
We gotta,
And all these things take time, I mean, even if, once we get the rezoning passed for the 232, I mean, we need to get utilities there, water, sewer, that's probably a year. So, you know, if you're looking at this 3 to 5 year window of opportunity, probably something has to happen sooner than later. I mean, certainly we can get QUIA, but if we want to keep the progress rolling, you know, that's.
What is that window realistically before it's too late? And then now we're dealing with competing with Davenport again, that they've
Well,
got their
theoretically,
5-year
I,
plan.
you know, I think they're gonna be 3 years at best, could be more, I don't know, you got the sewer, and you gotta get the land I mean, it's just a lot of stuff there, but is it 3 years? So if it takes you a year to get sewer and water, you got a 2-year window. If it takes you 2 years, you got a 1-year window. And then all of a sudden, now there's competition. Right now, there's no competition. And it's gonna take you, you tell me, to get sewer and water, assuming you can get all that worked out, is that a year? 6 months? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we've always thought that the development was gonna go from east to west, starting here at the QUIA sites.
Right.
But that was before all this filled up, and now we're seeing interest just spilling over, you know, down in this area where we don't have the infrastructure.
Off of Sloperton.
Yeah. Yeah, if it goes this way, we're great. I mean, because we can serve this now, and then we can go to the west. Once you cross Buttermilk, lift stations are involved as far as sewer. We've got a water study that's nearly finished with some pricing, but you know, it's millions of dollars, you know, to do anything on the other side of Buttermilk over here.
Even, and what about if you're at Sloperton, same deal?
Yeah, because you still need, I mean, they've identified a couple of lift stations, you know, over on this side to just serve this basin, you know, what we got here. That did include some area to the west outside of us, our borders right now, but 2 lift stations basically to serve this 1,100 acres we've got over here right now.
So you would look at it, extending the sewer from QUIA at the back and bringing it down as opposed to bringing it from Sloperton and going up?
Yeah.
Which probably makes more sense, you're here and now.
Yeah, because there is the large line, a 24-inch running through here that takes a 90-degree into a 36-inch sewer.
Yeah.
They've talked about teeing off of that, and if, you know, if Blackhawk Trail were to ever go across, it would follow that. But water and sewer then would go straight across to here. You could keep extending the water, but as soon as you cross Buttermilk, you gotta have some.
So then you got the
something
land
from
east
the-
of QUIA to look at too.
Right, yeah, we'd be able to basically serve all of this with pretty much what we've got right now, unless the demand was really great for water and sewer services.
Yep.
Water's already to the west side of TCC materials, along
Yeah.
Sloperton.
Yeah, so we're right down in here with water and sewer on the south.
Water's the easy part, it's a force.
Yeah.
Sewer, we have to grab it.
Yeah, we've got about a 200,000 gallon a day reserve capacity right now that could be used for some of this with water, which may or not, somewhere in there, you're gonna trigger an expansion, you know, you're not gonna get that whole 200,000 gallons a day.
And a lot of the users today, they're not like, I mean, there are some that are, you know, for food manufacturing, they use water, they use sewer, but more often than not, they're big, large logistics warehousing.
Well, yeah.
Or they're manufacturing, but a lot of them don't have huge water and sewer usage other than employee toilets, you know?
Yeah, but yeah, LSI and NVO over here, you know, that's the type of stuff we could support right now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
small manufacturing,
Yep.
you know, like some of the industrial park stuff that you guys were talking about with the smaller lots.
And that's the bulk of what we get,
That's the
you
bulk
know,
of
the
it,
metas
yeah.
come around once in a blue moon, you know?
Right,
Yeah.
but yeah, the other stuff's what we can support.
And the majority of food processors pre-treat their sewage before it goes out, correct?
Correct.
It's in our code, we can force them to do it during open shift.
Some of them do their whole sewage all alone, you know, depending how big they are and how big the site is.
But the preponderance of the activity that we see on a daily basis is the the big headline newspaper ones of the Sterilites and the Metas and those things, as Charlie said, they're rare. It's the bread and butter, it's our local businesses that are, don't have any place to go.
I mean, to put that into perspective, you look at all these buildings, and it's easy to talk about, just like the budgets of trillions today, but you get 20, 25 acres, you can build a 225, 250,000 square foot buildings. How many users are really building buildings that big? The bulk of, you can build a pretty good sized building on 10 acres. You don't need that. So I predict, and that was kind of our focus. We even talked to Dave Meyer at QUIA, and we actually have a plan for dividing that up into a smaller industrial park and larger lots, but then we listed the Avery, and that satisfies that kind of 10 acre. But there's a need even for 2 to 5 acres.
Yeah.
A lot. So we're kind of at the end of what we wanted to talk about. Any questions for us at all?
Appreciate your information.
Yeah.
We've been talking and trying to market and even out tax bases for our
Yeah.
community, and so this is very encouraging.
Good. I
What you
think
guys are showing us.
we think
Yeah.
Eldridge is sitting in the catbird seat. You guys, I think, are in a really good position right
So do we.
Thank you.
now. Yeah, we recognize that.
Well, thanks again. If we can help again or other questions, feel free to call us. We communicate with Jeff on a pretty regular basis. He does a nice job of giving us info, but we appreciate the opportunity to come before you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, have a great evening.
You bet.
As well.
All right, well, that was a nice presentation, so we'll move on to number 4, old business, update on Lincoln Road classification. Nevada, I'm calling you for that.
Thank you, Mayor. So this just kind of fits in with what we're talking about with development. I just recently learned this past week from my state that our request for reclassification of Lincoln Road, it did pass through our Quad City Metropolitan Planning Organization Committee to go on to the DOT, but the DOT ultimately did deny the reclassification, stating that the analysis only showed half of the minimum traffic recommended by the FHWA guidelines. Our current roadway structure did not meet the requirements. There's no shoulder and lane markings to determine the lane width. And then little development or lack of traffic generators currently in the area with no significant future development plans shared. So after receiving that information and talking a little bit with Bi-State about what our next steps might be, there is an opportunity to potentially provide some additional information about the future development plans for that area for reconsideration. So we'll start there and we'll submit some of our development plans with the Grunwald residential development happening around Lincoln, some of the commercial development that we are anticipating happening in that area, as well as the industrial development plans that we've been working on consistently over the last 18 months, 2 years. Once we get a decision back from that reconsideration, when we get everything submitted, I can give you an update then. And if we're still at that level where it's denied, then we can discuss what our future options and plans might be for that classification.
We were hoping to have this go in our favor, weren't we, to help with the rec trail along Lincoln Road? We were thinking that would be beneficial, correct?
Yeah, so currently Lincoln Road, we cannot get any state or federal funding for any projects on that road. Going to be a really expensive project in the millions to be able to reconstruct that road, add some sort of sidewalk or multi-use path and do curb and gutter and all of that. So obviously we would be looking for grant funding to be able to fund that project in the next 3 to 5 years. If we can't get that reclassified and we can't go after any state or federal funding, then we'd be using local funds to do that project.
It's clear by their response that the information that was necessary wasn't all given to them. I mean, the fact that there is future development there, and so probably just subpar presentation, hopefully.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get a little more information to them, maybe contact them directly with some of that information. Everything for the approval process goes through our by-state planning organization, so we can reach out to that contact that provided the information about the denial and provide them with some additional information. And of course, we'll include by-state in that communication as well, but hopefully we can get a direct line to provide some of that additional information.
Thank you.
It's unfortunate because it's a really necessary item on our punch list that
Yeah.
we can't afford to wait
Right.
too long on it.
How
Just
soon
too
can we
unsafe.
reapply?
Right now, we're just going to contact them directly and work with them and provide additional information and see if they'll reconsider right now. Otherwise, we would have to bring it back
By-state.
to the next time that by-state would be submitting reclassification. They submitted a group of reclassification considerations. Most of them got approved. There was only a small handful denied, which include Lincoln Road. So hopefully we will make some ground with the reconsideration, but if not, then we will figure out the next plan and keep moving.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys?
No, thank you.
Okay. Move on to number 5. We'll be going into closed session per Iowa Code 21.51I to evaluate the professional competency of an individual whose appointment, hiring, and performance or discharge is being considered when necessary to prevent needless and irreparable injury to that individual's reputation, and that individual requested a closed session. Do you hear a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Campbell, second by Yossi, go into closed session. Roll call.
Yossi,
Aye.
Blackwell,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Dockery.
Aye.
We're going to go in closed session for right now, and then we'll let you guys know when we're done.